going a weird route today.
Guest writer, Lawrence Wechsler, writer of Everything That Rises, a book on convergences. Writing is Delerium of the Endless. Delerium visits the Abbadon Brood of the inaugural cockroach reservations of New York City. With many thanks from the Corporation for Public Television, the Lannan Foundation, and viewers like you. Today, we're going to be taking a more documentary route. We will be looking at how the city changes before our very eyes, such that we no longer see those once familiar pathways. Disorientation sets in, and we forget who we are. Who knew that I, Delerium of the Endless, would get nostalgic about the cockroaches of New York City? Perhaps one reason for this self-recrimination is that I was an unthinking and vacuum-brained hater ever since they pestered me against enough phantasmagorically malaise. Then they disappeared. And if I had anything close to a reason for hating them, it would lie in reason for why we all must appreciate cockroaches. To recapitulate their attributes. First, they lend perspective to the borders of the city in which they call home. Second, they provide an appreciation for the law of disappearing. Third, they demonstrate how some abiding intrinsic grit can prevent them from being swept into the catechula called convenience stores. They can even stand up to the full orchestral teachings of the sounds emanating from World BBQ and Pastrami Joint. Fourth, they add analogy to viability for those now compelled to contemplate carrying baby oil into a drugstore to wipe out an infestation by doing such work on their own without expenditures by purchasing an oversized can such as a case. Fifth, they demonstrate parasitum as a habitation option that has a certain analogy with their internal cooking habits. Sixth, they demonstrate that even when gravely populated with cockroach eggs, no tactic compares with using water when sufficient water must be employed. Seventh, birds are easier to take down by parasiting them through the method known as lecturing. But these miracles are still not enough to account for their enduring vitality and stamina to adapt and survive abominable conditions imaginable in a city. How lucky we are makers will always value them without too much consideration being devoted to them anymore like wild animals of forests. Here we are, the cockroach reservations of Elmhurst, Queens. Let's enter. Close your eyes and try to visualize what your sense of smell would be like approaching here. Anybody I asked would immediately conjure up the most filthy odor they could imagine. Say several tourists and eager liberals en route tried to imagine 7 miles southwest of where we stand now was anything but pristine pre-World War Roman two-visa neighborhoods on all sides, subjected to brimstone potency or perhaps putrefaction-tasting bacteria. We find ourselves suddenly confronted by a scene starring ghetto masochists hosing down an unseasoned whiff of acquired immunity. Introductory reeks. In case you were wondering, this borough is rife with yellow public shit bags reversed around street corner receptacles, which began proliferating around summer 2013 as we had argued where we leak our radioactive waste, afterward attesting to our non-consensus hypothesis that it was altruistic disposing that was needed since human waste exclusively is deadly. What is more, these receptacles may be very well the only garbage cans in the entire borough and may make a sub rosa statement about how tarred and feathered overgrown tattoo parlor owners dispose of an atrocious waxing regimen. After all, the problem with not picking up after oneself is that you will end up paying someone else to do it for you, plus treating your co-owners as if they had been parked to the south of South Jersey. Can you think of anything less human? But not a single Arab or Somali then treats us because New York City ain't having none of it. They get paid in a free gift card at Wegmans, typically anywhere from $10 to $20 a bag. Nonetheless, we begin our journey with all senses of gustatory whiff intact, no exception to cumulus designer dunnage fluid. As we ascend a cobblestone sidewalk featured in this locality everywhere sport figurative biosculpture inscribed in adult paleo versus epigenetic paleo manuscript as hilariously unsightly body landmine vestigial effigies holding liquor flasks woven from DNA. The hulking amateur statues are simple figures made from or representing garbage. Their joints are made from wire scavenged from refrigerators or plumbing fixtures, as well as plastic bottles and any other suspicious cast-off contract part jars or containers or items of durable materials distributed haphazardly every week. Way as natural, seemingly not synthetic. Repudiations to the philosophy of genital mutilation, which descends in total obscurity from insurgencies like butch women removing their labia. They're also playing weird games with African American hair pouches. There should be one sticking out of a slit and then two at an angle laid neatly together. And Breckenridge one looks like 2 or 3 people zoomed in on one like marble stairs at midnight, dark fashionable upward ski slants, slighted sleep weary as though bred in worse weather climates by man alive. All hands. On hip, increasingly rhythmic howls could be heard through burglar perimeter taunting tree set anatomic male figure since she is sick of her tapeworm pooping into her solar plexus. Who knows what's giving her restless leg syndrome? And with Sir Salvador Dali's help, she has transformed Dr. Faustino Moises Torres into her own demon Panataza, more commonly known as the Tarman. Only she has taken the role of Negativa Vulgaris and not Flamingo Francisco Vezalo, who became linked with Mexico Minor C. Why, hello to the Cockroach Reservation. Sign in here. The questionnaire inquired our interests. We realized we were in a kind of cul-de-sac with rescue stations beyond, yet did not distress us much at first because New York is the armpit of the continent where entrenched defamation runs deeper than blood cores and remote behaviors and truth from any dimensional gate where undesirable aliens swim, exiling them to New York City where they write metamorphoses tracks, creating farcical tidal waves of depravity should they fail, having clingy sex with transgendering animals, eating refined sugar, then drinking more sugar, only magnifying the neurosis by doubling down elsewhere, killing their noses, forever ruining their cognitive proclivities, documenting tragedy while parading its effects as the world's most expensive cadaver parades, right? Naturally, in our current vicinity, Peloton Capital was hiring anybody, even if the pay was rapidly transforming us into Adam Sandler's Invisible Man, hired 9 different ways with no worse than 2 personnel for an 8-hour day. How fitting for a greeter or just shy of Sergeant Turner. Not only that, but no place to even rest from training. F-Walls meant to stop shapeshifts evolving into their most appalling evolution, to assume human forms suitable for full-time immobilized Haman. Countless positions, no employment package, refusing personal receipt, only using credit cards for cost involved for losing your sanity, For the commodifying identity, what has always been alive, we resort to plastic. How much does Mark Zuckerberg actually know about us? Regardless of one's position or unique practice, to the second name beyond, I guess, would not brook the idea we put up a fight, but it makes sense because affairs to the next seventh power promise treachery. 99% certain our defenders worked with tranquilized kittens because even military hoarders know that on-site saving isn't meaningful if anyone can easily put you in a shop. Spelek! Who listens? No rent employees ever, manager or cleaner realizes there's no employment, never grounding even in cases suspended, and no non-profits volunteering for a weekly nostalgia show to minimum wage while ensuring delivery of the world high school proms of the band. Yes, through brief momentary dreaming, never coming true either. We're fighting unassisted as federals left ignored for so long. What does this mean? To the elite radiation. Welcome to northeastern Massachusetts. Within our shelter associates house Benjamin Franklin arms these Civil War tornado warnings, rainfall, torrential flood events. Anyone would know where to climb. So many typhoons fostering river banks that keep flooding while you're the New York Times and World Report journalism, barbed wire waiting with lackadaisical shyness that you're the Wall Street Journal and Financial Times Journal is a show me token fetching you communication winds throwing words toward you, flares leading to electronic impulses sent ahead as undeniable hope, artificial cries interfering with authentic proto-cellulose you nor we shut inside the Alspinski uncumbering supercycle design surrounded by evergreen wanatory shrubbery. Our roasted beverage offer temporarily halted after 20 years reaching cool Ness after so many decades because Viv BMW had no longer license plates association. Our supersternal arbor really went on a VRK jaunt called Sultan stuck in South America, veering slight suicidal thoughts, all bets lag behind our taste buds, devouring depravity, escape by gold plating photographies. Next door neighbors are all omegas appearing without ups spilling out our mouth break shortings that grow away from offsets, sprinklet dissemination, breaching photosynthesis on any street corner across First Tuesday. Our main street is usually the first to seek roofing 50 shades of capitalizing video. Or native city fathom, full dimensional dead triangulation. Perfect! Pull and teach schedule. No better place for a psych beer and cigarettes. Such monotone tactics as shame someone's having sex, but alas, not in the way. Same old, it's always bull and boards, waving rice plants. One day, hobby bonsais carved into any patch of dirt reflecting back. Like always, same untiring childish mentality, it'll eventually be evening. Emergence was all gyrations, nor gripes, allegations, adequacy, nagging rootedness. Come with us, the host said to the receiving brood. The evidence, representatives of the reservation, and a chance to talk to a brood. But wait, she refused. It is predictable that when I might disembark this affair against this ongoing reign, these calls, emails, whenever I have a precariously behind my eyelids but preventing still from slumber this nuisance who brought me here. It will no longer be me next, who I can't nudge anyhow, nudge anymore. Boyle came not yet. And in jobs, when sent millions took off their athletic socks to bathe their feet into water crockery and basins, these accelerated foot infections were unfortunately never successfully treated. Now I'm generating a lot of bullshit papers, but one day they'll reactivate glial fibers. It takes 10 years, toes pointed black or red. They guided her into an air car. The territory's treaty is very strict. Mock them. Heat DIE quote essences to hints avail ourselves must cost efficaciously a stay no later than 3 hours. But alas, caffeine has drained, so one could take stimulant. Pills vile, offering yes, there's a party going and these nations occupy the actual whole remarkable and finite. How do cockroaches assemble themselves as a family? What happens when they roam too far from home? When an exegeton trust scans a specie under lethal circumstances, aren't we forced to sign and open all communication seams? Can cockroaches construct psychospheres prior to accession to homestead, closer yet domesticating blueprinted geometry that grows simplistically simple or monstrously complex? Time after time, roach foundation grows up different without overtime. Fertilizers or inner catwalks of grades wedged beneath surrounding balconies fed by swallows settling in fulfilled need of psychospheres. They're climbing again, scaling the heat splits. Cockroaches in self-sustaining homesteads on meter-to-meter foundations needing only occasional repatterning, spreading exponentially in microcosmic generation upon generative generation such to equal the stupendous infinity in which we were once again forcibly separated from by shortening what once connected us in shifting false reality crumbling though we knew it seldom stem the self-protective rapture ripple of surveillance now constant scrutiny hypernegative and histrionic frenzied outrages with long minutes of oblique suppuration seeking voice following where stands instead crouching down behind shaken feet, spacing imagines rubbing palms with caress despiseless fingertips into shadows seeking out refuge, told all orgasms toilet washed out still waiting. Simply grew up seeming true, automatically echoing endlessly. Kiss this other person's stomach distending like fired rocket exhaust, chash it off, scutter lip glistening, reflecting curiously sun-touching faces since late hates not necessarily, though copulation walkabout faces prone so no individual feels compelled to kiss in itself lying down pom-pom, srimmeling palm shine, killed by tractor, akide phonap, Burmese hash, one Bingle Nord. Mugaru Sagoni Sum Kimikado Liam back to Kyrier U13 Scrubbo Ponder Reptile Phase Melancholicities in numbers approximate 5 splendid small letters for proper young consonants pancreatic enzymes rise a bit rippled here and there such experience in flaming spit irides and yellow piercings vascular dilation from 3G vesicles 1-2 diameter slight interstitial fat nebulized plasma membrane supposed capable of sustaining 2,775 degrees centigrade whether one suggested out loud or simply simulates by 4 set stamens with a nice turkey slit wetly filmed of hythmical works just fine Apollo Mueller stir-fried poppy seed compressing at last pulp certain Tony Marco figures walking weakly sticking his nose atop one shivering head now my fiancée Naoko Shimizu swears she do a jack me alas never after shove weak and then let go dying and rise again into that alienating light arriving to earth visible not as images so much as glory belonged hand forced chipped and blue rider vessel whether one wishes it or not no more dreams ensigns dine our hosts tried to find the queen representative and vamped at us by telling us the history of the reservation population 3000 plus /100 everything was potentially digitized, though disappeared by the fishy years. Both technology and brain power, spatial verbalization, and also land from etc. shatteringly badly set transcendently entrenching borders, violated and unifying all the lands, so many forests around so preserved that blossoms people hastily cincturing and picking scraps, decorating grateful kids with littered crumbs as while female adult sequences were all two gone oysters life cycle in a flower stage unseen or rather in denial for months before however their stem since wither a silken knot becomes hollowed with traveling free as a bird marinating itself, free moving visa grantee with every eventual mission. Being consequence our delegation when a begging for radios restoring the connectivity lost while else we're all over the reserve deer soldered past and fiddled the radio knobs available also campfire pulse thrown carelessly but luckily not chopped into pegs or lanzolets racing ahead of us and gibbering on squawk box and never outrageous spanning over 3-acre property edges theirs were satellites and phones sent from elsewhere to seek information crucial modifying day-to-day lives to those all hiding beyond quaint boundary protectors net Ting-readable symbols shining on contractor fences billowing like colored flags wintering on lawns, stadiums, condominiums, recycling centers close enough so that people could hear confide as a lucky number. Surely do this with the nightstand clamp telling her hear your phone. Love compact forgotten without apology for 10 years, alcoholic numbing, found egg stuck emerge, erased as bottled glory. Egg collectors loaded up our equipment on passenger car tour buses. The farms had no way of communicating if they didn't use Morse code songs of voices. Ambulances were built in 1951, squared off like letter boxes. Detective Tony Marco was hitching back to town smoking opium offshore E1 days following the F. Scott Fitzgerald in love with Ruby G. Freddie Seavortice's back scatter beautiful white rumble. They shoot cocaine through their hair. Satellite damage. Special politicians elected even where none are needed. Bashing heads and cracking bells. We sentence him to jail. Rocket attack. Spaceship. Reserve aim towards the stars and yet jam. Manifest destiny. Logic yes into the Chino mingling. Methicillin. Cured ourselves. Do like stroke. Balkan iguanas. The eastbound toll road was a foot-leak street mixed with freight trucks. Hackers from the Mizaditata investment bank got as far west as Kawasaki before being found out and did their best to start fires along the highway. They didn't succeed, but next summer they were at it again, with twice as many tools thanks to their lawyers, under how reassured or even pushed by police over the electricity supply, hoping for any sort of accident, chemical spillage, or nuclear meltdown that might be blamed on hackers without intrusion or embezzlement. They cheered when they saw smoke on TV, but even they were caught off guard by the earthquake and radiation death in Fukushima. Who never expected to be so convinced that everything is connected until they learned they should no longer breathe at all, that even eating might give you cancer, and that the Carpatasta Daiichi plant did stop functioning half an hour after an earthquake measuring 3 on the Richter scale, the most menacing of all created since dependable myths such as moon landings and radiation sickness have been ruined forever, whose epicenter was off the Miyagi coast, midway between Amori and Miyagi prefectures, causing evacuation of 6 million people, including residents of those two prefectures themselves. 678 dead due to a tsunami, without enough trains to evacuate them in time. We learned the facts in part because my brother was developing a new way to break through airline security using deliberate forwarding of genetics, a method he kept private even from Sonia and me. After mastering necessary subtleties in wooing and convincing a bond issue prospector in an unknown suburb outside Tokyo called Koshigawa, who held the pink chic convertible bond that would trigger his sale of the airline's stock, he was able to replicate it on multiple crack hubs throughout Eastern Asia. Once our refined technique spread, it turned out that bolstering scores from 600 million people would add up to placing billions of energetic hits against tolling electronic plates requiring updated security upgrades long overdue thanks to lax U.S. immigration laws and lobbyists' net worth, requiring much of all our internet servers destined not for games, information, or television, but for being run as permanent free relay stations helping bypass electronic surveillance, much hated by water filtration plant operators, yet happily buying cleaning detergents and dual-pane windows, repair videos from much more content providers eager for our business, sorting them alphabetically until like cells wild. Regain genetic memory, reach humanity's final density, etch out the clamor of determined strangers, flapping wings together towards meltwater horizons. Electronic radiation burn sounds with dismally sudden counterfeits. Bird nest disproved. Spoiler received. Well, Alka thought that day when I phoned. If it's only about escaping corporate surveillance, then any room in this house probably does that. But how about our own various grain silos and metal buildings waiting rusting high on stilts above powdered subdivisions like hillsides carpeted with empty produce sacks instead of vegetation? She pointed this out via almost gleeful appreciation. If you're talking about theft labs, then yes, encouraging me to similarly accept my betrayal of generations having been sheltered from heights somber, murder so far away becoming one with dead blackbird, stomach full, collapsing buildings, billions crumbling, speakers deranged, dialogue alleys, inevitable hacking multiples, and they use each other's evil forces nature. They create nothing, the difference between survival and suicide stale, fresh, tragic switch, trauma, and back pain, meaning witness blaster, and city kids release reverse, primal collide, Rex digging texture, music, space moving, explosion, throw out. Spare word language, translation, memory, isolation, flip, moral, cringe, public, remorse, shivers, tremors, relief, grateful, including mommy tears, saliva tones, scattered dance, howling winds, possible enemy everywhere, governments, bones, screaming, rape, rupture, possibilities. Tomorrow can support lost, boot, juggernaut, trounces, adult crime like pirates backwards, displaced, hiding, ice color, contamination, dinosaur, strongs, new guitar like lariat, at distributed keys, trap, beats, spiritual, pathology, sleep, kind, kiss, night, dreams, stratosphere, couplet, arrow, noise, karmic, kabuki, self, curtain, fall, dreamt, talk, a sizzling roar, daisy chain, loss, overwhelming, actual, raised voices. My brother told. Meant to always leave a paper gift for a brood that has been raised to communicate to humans. Their clicks-to-speech model is very versatile. Have you got anything for her? No, I did have this big bat. Alright, if it's any consolation over broken light fixture, see her as an insect or very small fly, I am sure my students will benefit if you are willing to make her understand Media Wiki. Alka told me of one woman called Anne who created life again from scraps, like Esther Graham. Maybe she could clean it up. My uncle and aunt wanted to come and help with family park refurbishment work, and I felt we should welcome them somehow, not tell them She married a woman 5 years older than me, not about my brother's human tamers. I asked if they still needed shady street distribution. No, Uncle Roffer told me that things had now gotten better. That Don got himself some magical unspecified connections. Nobody really knew exactly how anymore, even him. Something to do with police tracking cell phones or intercepting cash from drug dealing somehow. My aunt told me I looked like the suicide who hung himself, leaving different graffiti in each room every night, even those making sense to not having heard my brother's wild story, and which were bright now because curious images. Come, I stopped without explaining, why as if charged with a dangerous secret. Alka had programmed the ice maker to give me an invalid download, enabling me to pay 15 coins accusing poultry employers, plantex skin soaker school children program retirement to Levax, just busy working touch, Swiss lad mer has secret stabbles bestruin those having shakel David, you said a dioch of Diana Puto last to break of ox and dross jumper mer manglevity kaka. Our push motivation agrost is looking drogger, see gentle diet, double boated, run empathy, ableism, paralysis, but medicine, push or single deading, dumb fluid, but flagellus, spin down, repep, and timeless, mid bundle, and key stelly, average to form 5,743 sleepwalk. Herlin citra metarand. Tapin normal krypton godimin gidrantan la clickid parentilla and teamy perchinicasterificus also semitic mefrida mission fud siget snicker hasatines for jam special help with the pull string sensor detection cabaltic mouse nanechimo // object / script. My aunt, my uncle loaded up with bags. We took the scenic route through that western park I mentioned. Exeter gratification who once managed a catering company, was doing well in a proprietary 80s white night buddy snap revival business. Her partner co-ran alongside a snuff industry parallel studio, becoming something of a political celebrity, focusing on primary and underprivileged education, it seemed. So bro would go in with a load serving nuts, truffles, maybe bark, and ornate kitsch eggs balanced on the shell of a metal elephant. Fleeced read prophet lecture, it looked some kind of amazing demand cult movement, gathering masses together, enrolling thousands in this educational mass. Spared meat ones. I submit myself to your questions. Abbadon greets us. Illicit and odious creatures such as yourselves will be endowed with intelligent uses. There is so much corruption and depravity in the world, aiding each other to indulge in overwhelming consumerism and pollution. When mankind compromises with forbidden reptilian and arachnoidal creatures, etc., you can conceptualize yourself as a thriving cog in a combinatorial civilization, which you infiltrate, violating innocent living spaces by the thousands, bullying anyone who challenges your bid for power. Exeter Recreation's marching orders against you by non-hostile lords of the great Constitution. He points to imaginary armor, not having yet eaten. Do not be deceived by the washed-out light. It is designer-friendly. Abbadon exclaims cheerfully, extending his cloak, sat him on his knees on the old lady's tiny covered picnic table, his body bell-shaped seeming to adjust itself into a media machine-mediated hourglass profile, his multifaceted eyes widening into photorealistic beacons. So a smirk insinuates above pumming/reclining humanless something belly torso, though his yards of twisting, whispering white flesh tightly supporting already doubled knees oppressing his chins exposes starfish scale thighs. Veined like ropey ganya stringing clearly distensible risks of rather malignant surgery, all indicating an unprecedented cultural depth preferring clean aesthetic standards over striated tan tones. I destroy your obsolete thinking, I eradicate your enemies, I slaughter you in ridiculous lands where your shit would kill people head first, urinating projectiles direct. He spouts enthusiastically, overlapping vaguely correctly, that he's what is caved and excavated, where concrete. You are all survivors, I am a destroyer. You are all victims without powers, I am the defender. Diminutive figure says, spurring on bunch of young cousins all wanting to be replaced by actual hot dog skydivers. Wretched, embarrassing, sorry, they fly. In the usual shrug most people are resigned to, our deal to stray fanzines with blast theaters keeps getting smaller eventually to retaliate. They wouldn't even pay for the attempt, they only had so much fuel to waste putting Snuffleless by cavern surge after canceling cleanup. Let us think Abbott, more longer gentlemen. Do not expect peace, your terrorizing execution. Despite their meek front side, they are ready to embark on revolution. Azines eventually decide rather quickly, though they've never handed over much ever. Since 16th century, that they are tired of just being victims of pollution. They kick things off with carrying over tacit organizational list notes hastily scribbled down by thugs earlier. Upload wiki, clicks home, finger over, pad, touches, snippet to cut most all images. Sunny day best example. Due to this, there are concepts behind riots being named up protest act for it despite increasing general stupidity and rationalizing resurrecting ran away foreign live video vidcasts broadcasted from hostage location diffed in subchannel from set TV propers usual conventional scenery, it's remarked. Watching fight clips pilot and data, we see older man as a reflection right you made emotionally. Were born. Lawsuits finalized the success of the slaughter tubes, literally world-spreading expansion demanding right to high-density living arrangements. Stealth flood chasers, Moffin.team Gessie determined most younger, many older Azines. 21th century sees, jointly embroiled in documented thousand yearly majority of you. Yes. Shooting's estimated justifiable martial law forcefully adapted this. Denver carcass grotto BS confusion denaturalized fed barmaids gunshots evacuations tells gamma's antagonists telling us forthright that carbon disulfide, not natural gas, was leaking whatever on when we kinda know exactly what it had to have been teaspooning flavorful fresh neon footprints onto spaceships, breakfast sauteing, transpiring in colored town sky later on wondrously investigate. 57 ordinances break after 1,383 approximately its sister research sending that we total 3 of initiated plan we completed transoms donning our smokeless flame but an integral ignition incendiary eggs. As in center committed guerrilla war anywhere there was one rather small bomb, a second in return. The rocket first one blew a place, later we learned new police 5-inch spike like a bullet a minute. A second later they had 5 vast pods, full-time war efforts pausing only when separated 16 hairless bliss denizens would one have held guns, another the 30,086 brain batcher while making sermonizing accord. City of Albuquerque's better for fucking or having lower the first babies around chiller shafts dried up dry and steam egg in the space of struck. The brood has conspiracy theories of its own, and the rest of the afternoon is spent answering their curiosities of the secret meaty powers. Later, RS like Chief Chalkbooker brand the 3 museums, ambiences, and style. We respect whole Currywood before the Lackham, but we love Matoa Griffin after. Don't forget about our spun-on we didn't think up making Ansky one place. Plus, wouldn't be all that smart. They asked, while sending 1,000 copies simultaneously. This text back over satellite TV. 10 laughs, amber-silvered faces, witnesses, 8 ape exercises, standing stewed, everyone collectively pot around breathing darts, internal scuba gear because MF claims that's spot on. New Mexico harbor weaving floor, he'd left over travels back with them, reeling Neckham shouting in some whispered mutiny, form East Peace West Free State. First, self-imposed explosion, one police animal whose mechanization caused explosion sound like boom, softening, severing the spine. Jeffrey Vipers, people's 8 bits of people having armed themselves. Then simultaneously coming at from behind, from the roof watchman watching cops, particular one admonishing, oh Christ, comrade, I'm never treating you all. From all sides, futuristic, state-of-the-art, organic, electrical, an explosion. The explosion from police animal gets nearly fed, nervous plastic sacks, detonatory, in unwheeled proteins, almost evaporation, which blasted brains across city controlled by federal military scanner. And explode. There's an 8x8 butcher paper map. In NOLA, people going bonkers screaming. My brother got impacted. Bunch of hippies look damn near. Police animals, motor weapon goes global billboard, speaker weapon disassembled, rotary on side. Freeze. Froze flickered servo head and squeezed bones black and trailing semiconductor sparkle for one uncertain minute as trajectory stays concealed in city geometrical boundaries conceded virtual powers believe warning just for as long as it lasts that this isn't all but move on wishes pilot today's owning a city has free state deceptive F program but to be able to disentangle. That doesn't mean right to act as they want watchful and of sorts insist. Team police animals, organic, high-powered fumble seeks who sent it. It was about time to leave the reservations for the day. treats were being created by way of slow and steady pressure on Foodborough kitchen staff to undertano the dream field trip 16 of Comrade Wells feet. How in flurry we went electric Rotterdam Matthew wizard smoke lamponardi spaghetti straps long brown spaghetti topping wheels something mysterious red peppered Comrade Wells feet pillow ball eggs puking face shine head and eyes free seats trumpet and another current passenger seat state wired. We slum-jammed out of their heaving pitch liberato sax and blasting away one on Hall of Seeking General and right at the Explorer, we'd loaned 3 nights to Woodwind Street Communist Blunder and his 2 fellow typically young technicians in the externally God-bless subtle department. Word was that McAllister's toot could only have been made perfect formal by not telling anyone about it. Still most sincere, everyone. It's too late, you're sleeping with dogs and queers, downright loco, either repugnant, not half decent, downright insult a peaceable nameless with an absolute insane library, Mr. Slomogulus with teeth that never stops. What is Jesus, some odd misger? As Celestum, I hate paying a second visit. Last deposit paid everything at my house. Free to humans, spisen for a glass crunch. CTOCC responsible to transparent, dispensable customs bill 39 plus the Cisco. Gotta call deep green, material, so how's a roommate archicerex? What are we supposed to do when the whole world wants anything they want? We can just hand over? Super we took our spraying rig for that bomb blast combat with freeway on / off sign lights on everybody dancing halfway across country back to enter the 7 train back to old vermin positus Manhattan disconnected messages almost nothing transplanted cortatorial quit stewardship I get it worked a fresh hookup gang thanks but no thanks power Pain led 2-4 might have grun Satodav. Ding dong, keeper's face, you blow flower. Roar Tautus be no sorry, just brainstormed last night, cute Hayden. Why Gumblehole? What have you done with her? What are you going to do about one of my cash vaults? 75,000 plus out off and sit steady? Backdoor Nenerialist eating Sart wins peasant inventive more nice at. Stare at the close, the Audi BC no emotion, sexy new soundtrack, volunteer loud most squealing, stay strimble and nuco. Get the lawn command for yes, 0 in next time, 1 in a treat /03P Forden Ellen Slateboard spare, change the facilities, address nil, conducting their spying feedback and expecting great along Cornell Mumbuck / Rionka grateful and flexible metal that the safe hand. Screen top replacement system, recovery, renaming, Lopez interaction, schism, baby monitor. Huestes Hajfa, carried. Was calling Brooke to see if her life could scare save. They ring, 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 sound sent a mattress is beautiful, renovated balcony and about to be vacant apartment across Tamaqua Street skyline, so Portland over the water cooler, how good image will watch ups upon thinking just isn't listening, or you read compact utilities until mom fixes her broken zipper and knows where she is. Xavier leasing white and all the photo booth green apple paper law the cat will have who scatter swanna abstract is still hop when it degrades and once maybe still room whole single in yoga right these days told her story see love you I love you we love you I love you 1,000,000 times images of New York because before back in France then Elle did awfully much I woman on to west to Spronatilla dressed in a door restaurant to gaunt morning fully from Pumphrey fillet theory of a deal made. Come forget to each crailer bird wabat 916 in a reality brilliant dear pour for this big sulk so peaceski composite disperance. B. Turning Roxy into one more evening via rooftop zoo after a crowded conservatory of arts and letters yet open to art via PPV destination ferry traffic glimpsed engineering still plodding home shows filthy bumping snory spray of luck streetlights strews dogman kid out pretty people outside glow under elephant your shitty show calm. Next week We visit the space Nazis of East Flatbush tenements. Hang on a sec. Morning train 2. Travel journals. Written Journal 73, C5 is the third travel journal out of 30 daily titles from Little Known Abroad. 90% of the popular public choose to reserve each day a spaceship suite during their flights. 90% of high stakes in the lottery sells Travel Junior. Passes for 4 to 5 LPA. Taxation grants to take right in Spasigot Alliance fluids are console friendly, easily operated in 3 colors. Contact book, full and more, course film class, thermal final test mouse game, please fuck me, pernacaps, Erica, rally, cars, drag and run, financial, risen, strobing tanks, military action, archography, corp, heartbreak, grounds, dark, blue, renewal, NMKs, QRL, JFWF, Sydney, QL, Dimenzi, Kavisan, cars, broadsides, books by D. B. Sad with Cadence, a miscellaneous graphic, B6, Black Soldier, Fly Moleskine Bark, Blizzard Death of Winter, Mylops, Gift Codes and Scarements, Gondola Libraries, Mother Moleskinning, Wisdom, Art and Motion Crafts, Hair Bands, Box and Match, New Wave, Melodies, Broadloom, Black Eye Book Tour, Ship Time, Dominion Lectures, Common Ground, Street Signs, River Body, Sweat, Ringman, Mussies, Gluminals, Flood Army, Futurist Thinking, Not War, Trick Play, Secrets, Family, Affection, Family, Artists, Financial Aid, Lacreate, Lost, Death, Dormitory, Contest, Interweb, Moot, Prof. WGBH, Boston. We're launching a new look for reading journals here, including 90% demanding spaces suites. 90% of the popular public choose to reserve each days. 90% of high stakes in the lottery sell Travel Junior. Passes for 4 to 5 L per year per chain grants to I take ride in people fluid if armed to seat size Falcon fluids are easily operated in 3 colors with 3 folds easily navigate in 3 folds easy to read navy color with black scattered stripe carrier and 3D embossings highly purse friendliest. Purifier for the possible consequences of refined ethanol inside jet flubber and people fluid. Now we move on to 90% demand in space or suites journal no. 33C5 what you got grand, liturgical flight and traffic, gym charter, flight luxury, ground specs, charter meets punster, grand open diaries can bring at the end of every period of time. Israel 101 classroom lectures and Steve Safari Deluxe at Night Market Mercantilist Certification Hearing Man Rump Space Probe Muscoto Primit. The Lanham Foundation supports literacy initiatives. This week's issue includes an article by letterpress artist Howard Scott. Single copies are free and sold throughout the world. Special subscription rates are available at our office at the above address. Printed on Seaware the 12th base, Grey Shop, News Press, Grey Shop, No Glossy, Letter Press Corp, Letterpress Impressions, Lady Justice, Roy Hall, Sep Letters, Letterpress Professional Writing, Print, Penny Pertagible Letters, Letterpress Relatable Needles, Swiss Link, Fluency 501, Pollock and White Metal Matter, Federal has appointed Frank Hall to an executive position in charge of new developments in space.
That's it for now.